Bronze survives, stone survives, crystal survives, but songs vanish, names vanish, instructions vanish. History may not have preserved what mattered most. It may have preserved what time failed to destroy. 8 discoveries survived. Each one points toward a missing world. Number 1, Nebra Sky Disc. A small bronze disc carried the sky after the people who understood it were gone. The Nebra Sky Disc is about 30 centimeters wide. It is around 3,600 years old. On its dark surface, gold shapes appear like the sun, the moon, and scattered stars. At first, it looks beautiful. Then it becomes a problem. Bronze Age Central Europe is not usually imagined through written star charts. There are no surviving manuals from that world explaining how to read the disc. No named observer tells us what the symbols meant. Then this object appears with the heavens already arranged on metal. That is where the story fractures. The problem is not that ancient people looked at the sky. Of course they did. The problem is that someone may have remembered the sky with enough structure to turn it into a portable image. The golden arc along the edge spans about 82 degrees. Some researchers connect that angle with the distance between summer and winter solstice sunrises at the latitude where the disc was found. That interpretation is not the same as a final answer. Not every detail is settled. The disc does not prove modern astronomy in the Bronze Age. It does not prove a lost super civilization. It does not need to. Its disturbance is quieter. It suggests that knowledge can exist without writing. A culture can watch the sky without leaving a library. It can track seasons without leaving equations. It can pass observation from elder to child, from ritual to ritual, from horizon to horizon. Then one day, some part of that memory is pressed into bronze, and almost everything around it disappears. The disc survives. The voices do not. The teachers are gone. The ceremonies are gone. The exact meaning of the symbols is gone. What remains is one object, small enough to hold, but heavy enough to reopen a question thousands of years deep. How much knowledge did ancient people carry before history learned how to record it? Here's the first break in the comfortable story. Silence is not the same as ignorance. The Nebra Sky Disc does not tell us that history is false. It tells us history may be missing its quietest parts. And once you see that, the disc stops being only an object. It becomes the edge of a vanished method. But not every surviving method is written in metal. Some survive in a material that changes the act of seeing itself. Number 2, Nimrud Lens. A polished crystal fragment should not feel like a threat to history until light passes through it. The object was found at Nimrud in modern Iraq, near the ancient city once close to modern Mosul. It is small, oval, polished, and made of rock crystal. It measures roughly 3.5 centimeters across. At first, the explanation seems simple. A luxury inlay, a palace ornament, a beautiful fragment from the Assyrian world. Then the crystal bends the image behind it. This is where the label starts to fail. For more than a century, people have called it the Nimrud Lens. That name is famous, but dangerous. The word lens makes the object sound like a scientific instrument before the evidence has earned that certainty. So, we slow down. The object may have optical properties. It may magnify in a crude way. Someone may have noticed how it bent or focused vision. But it does not prove telescopes. It does not prove hidden optical science. It does not prove Assyrian astronomers were using instruments like early modern scholars. That would be too much. But calling it only decoration may be too little. Here is where the ordinary explanation becomes too small. If it were only an ornament, the story ends in craft. But if someone noticed what it did to sight, even once, the object crosses a line, not into modern science, into the experiment. The ancient Near East was not a world of simple minds. Assyrian scholars watched the sky, tracked celestial patterns, and inherited traditions of observation that lasted for generations. Their craftsmen shaped stone, metal, ivory, and crystal with extraordinary control. So the real question is not whether they could notice what crystal did to light. Of course they could. The question is whether noticing ever became useful. Was it used for close work? Was it set into furniture for beauty? Was its optical effect accidental? Or did someone in a palace room now lost lift it toward the eye and realize the world could change through crystal? That is the quiet power of this case. The crystal does not dominate a landscape. It does not announce itself as a machine. It sits almost silently, small enough to overlook, but strange enough to resist a simple label. Sometimes history does not lose the object. It loses its purpose. The crystal remains. The hand that used it is gone. The room is gone. The first moment when someone noticed its effect is gone. What survives is not proof of an ancient optical revolution. It is more unsettling than that. A polished fragment asks whether some knowledge began as private gestures, workshop tricks, and small experiments no one thought to record. The crystal changed what light could do. But elsewhere, light was not passing through stone. It was carved into it. Number 3, Dendera Lamps. Inside an Egyptian temple, carved light still makes modern eyes uneasy. The Dendera carvings show long oval forms, serpents inside them, supports beneath them, and figures standing close. To modern viewers, they can look like lamps. That resemblance has made them famous far beyond Egyptology. And that is where the trap begins. The carvings are found in the temple complex at Dendera, associated with the goddess Hathor. To Egyptologists, the images belong to a symbolic religious world. The serpent, the lotus, divine birth, and sacred light all have meaning inside Egyptian iconography. That explanation is serious. It cannot be brushed aside. But the resemblance is hard to ignore. The shapes look close enough to modern bulbs that some writers have claimed they show ancient electric lighting. A hidden technology, a lost system, a secret under the temple stone. But resemblance is not evidence. The Dendera carvings do not prove electric lamps. They do not prove wires. They do not prove batteries. A sacred symbol that looks modern is not the same as modern technology. That should have ended the mystery. It did not, because the carvings were never the only problem. The break is not the shape. The break is the setting. These images are not sitting in an open courtyard under daylight. They belong to temple spaces where darkness was part of the design. They appear in a world where movement, access, ritual, shadow, and revelation were controlled. So the better question is not, did Egyptians have light bulbs? The better question is, how did ancient Egypt make darkness obey? Temples were not ordinary buildings. A person moved from brightness into shadow, from public space into hidden chambers, from the world of people into the world of gods. Light was not only practical, it was theatrical. Maybe oil lamps were used carefully. Maybe mirrors reflected sunlight. Maybe certain spaces were lit only when needed. Those explanations are possible. They deserve respect. But the deeper mystery remains. Even if the electric theory is wrong, the question does not disappear. It changes shape. The carvings may not show technology in the modern sense. They may show something older and stranger, a civilization that understood how light, fear, symbol, and stone could work together. Electricity would explain the room. Symbol explains the civilization. That is why Dendera still pulls people in. The images stand at a dangerous crossing, where lost meaning meets modern expectation. When a symbolic language fades, the eye fills the silence with familiar machines. That is how mysteries are born, not only from the missing evidence, from lost meanings. Dendera warns us that a lost symbol can be mistaken for technology. The next case reverses the danger. No symbol is needed. The stone itself asks for the missing method. Number 4. Puma Punku. At nearly 4,000 meters above sea level, stone stops feeling ordinary. Puma Punku lies in the Bolivian highlands, within the wider Tiwanaku world. Wind moves across the plateau. Broken blocks sit beneath a hard sky. Some look like fragments from a system whose instructions were taken away. The first shock is weight. Some stones at the broader Tiwanaku complex are measured in tons. Popular claims about the largest blocks vary, and the biggest numbers should be handled carefully. But even if we ignore the most dramatic estimates, the problem remains physical. Weight, altitude, distance, precision, all in the same place. This is not a ruin beside an easy road with written engineering manuals waiting nearby. This is a highland construction world where the air is thin, the terrain is difficult, and the surviving record does not tell us exactly how the work was done. But weight is only the first problem. The real pressure comes from repetition. A giant block impresses the eye. A repeated groove cut again and again into hard stone attacks the explanation. A clean corner in hard stone can feel more disturbing than a giant block because it does not ask how strong the builders were. It asks how precise they were. Here is where the ordinary explanation starts to fail. Weight can be solved with labor. Distance can be solved with organization. But repeated precision demands a system. And the system is what vanished. Some blocks show crisp angles, recessed forms, repeated shapes, and careful planning. To modernize, parts of the stonework can look almost machined. That impression has made Puma Punku famous in mystery circles, but it has also attracted exaggeration. So, we need to be careful. Puma Punku does not prove impossible machines. It does not prove visitors from the sky. It does not prove that ancient people needed modern tools to build something extraordinary. The Tiwanaku were not primitive. Giving them credit is not the boring explanation. It is the serious one. They built a complex society with agriculture, ritual architecture, organized labor, and regional influence. The question is not whether humans could make Puma Punku. Humans did. The harder question is what knowledge made the work repeatable. How were the stones shaped so cleanly? How were forms planned? How were techniques taught? How much of the method disappeared because it passed through hands, not books? A tool can decay. A workshop can vanish. A training system can die with the people who carried it. Centuries later, the finished stone remains while the method is gone. Then skill begins to look like magic. But maybe it was never magic. Maybe it was human knowledge without a surviving manual. Look at the ruins again. The blocks do not feel like random stones. They feel like parts of a language after the grammar has been erased. You can see the intention. You can see the order, but the full system is gone. Until now, every surviving clue had a surface. Bronze, crystal, stone, something the hand could touch. Then the evidence stopped being an object. It became the ground itself. The first half asked what ancient people made. The second half asked something larger. What if entire landscapes were built to remember what objects could not? Number 5. Sajama Lines. One straight line across the Earth can be a path. Thousands of lines across a highland world become something harder to explain. In western Bolivia, near the Sajama region, long lines stretch across open terrain. They cross plains, slopes, and sacred places. Unlike the famous Nazca images, these are not mainly remembered as giant animals or figures. Their power is repetition. Line after line, route after route, a vast system of movement written into the ground. Some estimates describe more than 10,000 individual lines across more than 22,000 square kilometers of highland terrain. Even if those numbers are approximate, the scale is not small. From above, the land does not look empty. It looks organized. This is the moment the evidence changes shape. If the lines were ritual paths, the mystery does not shrink. It expands. Because then the monument was not built to be seen. It was built to be repeated. Many researchers connect the lines with pilgrimage, ritual movement, and sacred geography. That explanation may be the strongest one. But it does not make the lines ordinary. If these were ritual paths, they required memory. They had to be cleared, walked, renewed, taught. Their meaning may not have lived in a single aerial view. It may have lived in the body, moving across land. Ask yourself this: what kind of map is not meant to be seen at once, but walked over time? Modern eyes want a monument that fits inside a frame. We want the full design captured from above. We want the ancient world to become a thumbnail. But sacred landscapes may not work that way. Their meaning can live in motion, in the footsteps, in the turn toward a shrine, in the repeated crossing of the same earth by people who knew where to go because others had walked before them. The Sajama Lines remind us that ancient knowledge was not always stored in things. Some knowledge was stored in roots, in movement, in landscapes that taught memory through the body. A civilization can write itself into stone. It can also write itself into the ground. And once the ground becomes evidence, the danger changes. A landscape can be too large to fake easily. The next survivor has the opposite danger. It is small enough to desire to reshape it. Number 6. Aiud Wedge. This case should begin with a warning. The more shocking a discovery sounds, the more slowly we should move. The Aiud Wedge is often described as a metal object found in Romania, reportedly near fossil bones. Some accounts claim it contains aluminium, a material associated with modern industrial production. That detail made the object famous. A metal wedge, a strange shape, ancient animal bones. A modern material where modern material should not be. It is a perfect mystery for the internet, but it is not perfect evidence. The context is disputed. The relationship between the object and the bones cannot be treated as a settled fact. Sediment can move. Objects can be redeposited. Modern material can enter older layers. A dramatic association is not the same as a controlled excavation. So, we have to say this clearly. The Aiud Wedge does not prove prehistoric aircraft. It does not prove lost machines. It does not prove ancient aluminium metallurgy. The evidence is not strong enough for that. But the case still matters, not because it gives us a final answer, because it shows how mysteries are created. First, an object has an unusual shape. Then someone compares it to something modern. Then the comparison becomes the identity. Then the identity becomes the story. And after that, the story can become stronger than the evidence. This is where the record becomes dangerous. The danger is no longer the object. The danger is our desire for the object to mean too much. This is where a serious investigation has to slow down. Wonder is not the enemy. Carelessness is. The right question is not, does this destroy the timeline? The right question is, would the claims survive criticism? For now, the Aiud Wedge remains uncertain, disputed, interesting. But there is no proof. Some discoveries deserve awe, some deserve doubt, some deserve to wait. And after a doubtful witness, the final landscape feels heavier, because sometimes the loudest claim fails, but the place refuses to go quiet. Number 7. Gunung Padang. A sacred hill can become a battlefield without moving an inch. Gunung Padang rises in West Java with terraces of stone, local memory, and a presence older than the modern debate around it. At the surface, it is already important as a megalithic site. But the controversy begins beneath it. Some researchers have suggested that deeper layers of the hill may show human modification. Surveys, drilling, and geophysical studies have been used to explore what lies below. The most dramatic claims describe Gunung Padang as an extremely ancient pyramid or constructed monument, with proposed dates reaching far back into the Ice Age. That claim is powerful. It is also disputed. And because it is powerful, it must be handled with care. Many archaeologists and geologists have challenged the strongest interpretation. They argue that natural formations may have been mistaken for architecture. They question whether dated organic material truly dates construction. They warn that a sacred hill can become a screen for modern hopes. A claim this large cannot survive on wonder alone. It needs excavation. It needs context. It needs evidence that can withstand hostile questions. Some published interpretations of Gunung Padang have faced serious criticism, and the most extreme version of the story cannot be treated as a settled fact. So no, this site should not be used carelessly as proof that an Ice Age civilization built the world's oldest pyramid. That would be too much. But dismissing the site as meaningless would be too little. Stone terraces under trees, questions under soil, desire above both. This is where the official explanation becomes too small, but the wildest explanation becomes too large. A weak story can exaggerate evidence, but a strong site can survive exaggeration. Gunung Padang may not prove to be the oldest pyramid on Earth, but it still proves something uncomfortable. Some places are not solved just because the loudest claim becomes doubtful. The hill remains, the terraces remain, the questions remain under the soil, and the past, once again, refuses to speak in a straight line. But the final survivor is not stone. It is not metal. It is not a disputed layer beneath a hill. It is wood. And by every ordinary rule of decay, it should be gone. Number 8. Shigir Idol. Wood should not last for 12,000 years. That is why this discovery feels wrong before the mystery even begins. The Shigir Idol was found in a peat bog in the Ural region of Russia. It was carved from a single larch tree and covered with geometric patterns and human-like faces. It does not feel like a simple object. It feels like a message from a symbolic world whose language has vanished. For a long time, its full age was not understood. Then dating pushed it deep into prehistory. The idol is widely discussed as roughly 12,000 to 12,500 years old, near the beginning of the Holocene. Some studies have used accelerator mass spectrometry, one of the most precise radiocarbon methods available, to refine its age. Now compare that with what most people recognize. Stonehenge is roughly 5,000 years old. The oldest Egyptian pyramids are roughly 4,700 years old. The first cities appeared around 5,000 years ago. The Shigir Idol predates all of them, for thousands of years. But age is only the first shock. The deeper shock is material. Stone survives. Bone sometimes survives. Metal can survive. Wood usually dies. That means our picture of prehistory is biased toward what decay allowed us to keep. We find stone tools, bones, and durable fragments, then build a picture of ancient life around them. But survival is not the same as importance. The Shigir Idol interrupts that mistake. It says there was more carving, more symbolism, more ritual imagination, more art in materials that normally vanish. This is the emotional core of the video, because the idol does not only ask what it means, it asks how much meaning disappeared before archaeology ever had a chance to find it. Imagine forests marked by carved figures, wooden posts at sacred places, painted surfaces, stories cut into living material. Then imagine rain, insects, fire, and time removing almost all of it. We cannot prove every vanished object, but one surviving idol makes the absence less empty. The past is not silent because ancient people had nothing to say. The past is silent because most of what they said was spoken in materials that could not endure. That is the real wound. Not that one wooden idol survived, but almost everything like it probably did not. No voice explains its faces. No myth translates its patterns. No ceremony survived to make the wood speak again. The idol does not give us an answer. It gives us the shape of an absence. And once you see that absence, every object in this video changes. The bronze disc, the crystal, the temple wall, the stone, the lines, the disputed wedge, the hill. They are not just discoveries. They are survivors, and survivors are never the whole story. The past did not leave us its best evidence. It left us what time failed to destroy. But the most human things were often the easiest to lose. A song, a name, a warning, a hand teaching another hand. If that silence bothers you, subscribe. The next mystery begins where the record stops.